Welcome to Treasury Payments, the podcast unlocking the future of cross-border finance.
From transaction banking and money movements
to liquidity, treasury, and cash management.
We bring you expert insights and the latest trends shaping global finance.
Welcome back to the Treasury Payments podcast. I'm Carter Hoffman, the Trade and Technology Editor here at TTP. I'm pretty excited for today's conversation because we're going to be looking at both trade and technology and unpacking a little bit about what you could call the holy trinity of trade tech, which is really that idea of compliance, speed to market, and implementation, and exploring how these three really come together and how they can change the way that global trade actually works. So on that note, I'm really happy to be joined today by Przemek Luniewski, the Chief Technology Officer at Secro, who's going to help us break all of this down and explore it in a little bit more detail. Przemek, welcome to Treasury Payments. So before we jump into things, if you just want to give a quick introduction, who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Carter. It's super nice to be here and talk to you today. I'm an IT and software development professional. I got like 20 years of professional experience, been working and deploying and building systems for various industries before, and I've been involved in development, maintenance, deployments, and implementation projects, quality assurance, security, infrastructure, all across the board. So that's me.
Awesome, thank you. So just to go a little bit more into Secro and the work that you guys are doing there, can you, tell us a little bit about kind of what's driving your mission right now and kind of how the technology goes in and underpins that overarching business goal?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Secro, we are on a mission to digitize global trade, and we specialize in documentary flows. So things especially related to documentation and the business process automation around documents. This is where we specialize. And we have built a specific technology that is allowing us to digitize and fully digitize solutions. So take organizations from the world of paper and sending those papers over through some kind of a shipping companies to truly digital solutions that replace a traditional approach.
Awesome. And I've seen, from some of the wording on your website and whatnot, that you guys talk about creating that trust layer for global trade. So can you talk a little bit about what that means in practice, whether that's on the client side or internally for you guys?
Absolutely. So here, the classic approach with paper has certain problems like spilling coffee over papers, papers being lost, papers being unintentionally destroyed or handed over in a wrong way. And the benefits of the technology is are eliminating these problems, right? Because there we eliminate the problem of human errors. We eliminate the problems of the time that it takes to transfer the logistics of the paper, and we eliminate the problem of unauthorized access, to name a few. Yeah.
Mhm. So that kind of ties in on a bit of that compliance side and kind of building a platform that's compliant by design, which is sort of the next theme that we want to go into and explore a little bit more here. So, of course, we've heard Secro described as being secured and compliant by design. So, what does that actually look like from a systems architecture point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. So we team up with IT experts look at and build the solution from a different perspectives, from the architecture, software architecture perspective, infrastructure, security, backup and disaster recovery. There we put together a platform that is designed in a secure way. The data that are stored on the platform um, are best in class, secured with redundant cloud technology, multiple replication mechanism, redundancy. So this way we assure that the data is never lost and never accessed in an unauthorized way. We monitor that infrastructure 24/7 days a week, and we provide various different layers of access and authorization, including everyone that is every user that is accessing the solution is a verified individual. So there is no like guest access whatsoever, right? So if you, let's say, collaborate with somebody on the platform, you are sure that this person is really the individual that you are looking to talk to through the system, right? And the Secro core technology that's built on top of that infrastructure is designed with reusable and configurable components. So that allows for great flexibility and adaptability of the technology. Yeah. This is also a very, very differentiated, a very big differentiator. So this put together is a platform that is secure, flexible, and ready to respond to specific requirements.
And how do some of those regulatory frameworks come into play in this sense, right? Of course, you'd want to make sure that you're ensuring alignment with these frameworks, but also balancing that with, kind of that speed of innovation, being able to get products to markets for clients as soon as possible. So how do you guys approach balancing that from that regulatory framework perspective?
Right. So we have built the platform to be secure and compliant with SOC 2, ISO 2701, and other frameworks, so that everything that we build on top of that follows a certain strict regulations and quality assurance as well. That so this is how the platform is built, right? And every solution gets these kind of features and these kind of characteristics. Now, the configuration capabilities allow for rapid change and rapid solution creation on the platform. So then we have the best of both worlds: the security, compliance, and the speed to create and maintain these solutions, change them going forward.
So you talk about their security, compliance, speed, all of those. How does, data sovereignty play into this, right? Obviously, that's a huge topic right now for banks and commodity traders and all of these stakeholders, right? Having their data housed and secured, somewhere that's safe and secure and somewhere that's easy for them to access and not going to be impacted by various regulations around the world. So how does Secro approach, balancing kind of a distributed architecture with some of those local data hosting requirements?
Technology-wise, we are ready to create solutions, and we do create solutions that allow for a certain set of data that is required to be sitting on a specific other infrastructure, can be sent there and synchronized for the client. So this this goes case by case, and this requires specific design, right? Because certain regulatory requirements come into play. This is why we look at these kind of solutions always together with the customers.
So, and again, looking at that idea of compliance being built by design and not just kind of tacked on as an afterthought, how have you seen that mindset approach to developing trade technology kind of change over the last 5 years or so? Has it become much more focused on building things from the core? How's that shift kind of looked in your mind?
So I think these solutions for the industry are not so much different from the other. Yeah, and technology and the use of information technology in the information technology era now is evolving, and we learn as we go, as the whole IT industry and the SaaS providers. We There are certain new regulations coming in, and we adapt to make our solutions better. So here the same. I think there was a huge step forward with the first solutions that came into play, trying to replace paper. And now we are looking at the next generation of solutions that are much more robust and are building upon the legal regulations that also are coming in for the industry, right? The recognition of digital signatures and electronic transferable records. These initiatives are helping a lot to digitize and to make the industry and the world better.
Hmm. And I want to shift gears a little bit now and talk about focus more in on that idea of speed and time to market and getting these products in front of your customers in a timely manner, getting those updates in front of them. So you've already talked about, some of those reusable and configurable components and how those might play in to speeding things up. Can you walk us through an example, perhaps, of how a bank or a trader has been able to roll out a digital document flow perhaps faster with Secro than they may have been able to in the past?
Yes. So one example I have in mind is a system that the trader used to create contracts based on so the contract drafts based on the data that they had in the trade management system, and the contract management system was disconnected from the data that were there available. So they were looking at um, copying the data and manually from the trade database into the contract drafting system. So here we are, and we have connected the two using Secro technology, and and the solution that we built for them eliminates the human factor in terms of copying the data, which eliminates the risk and takes away the risk of human errors, speed things up, and allows them to do more than they were ever be able to do before, right? So this is where we really automate, and then people will investigate and verify the data and verify the process instead of sitting there and copying pasting the data between the systems, which is also compliance issue as well, right? Because of the various risks.
So time savings, compliance benefits there. Any other kind of specific tangible benefits that some of these clients would have seen, things that they could, like hard numbers that they might be able to point to?
Yeah, so they are able to do more, and I think that is the major benefit here. When we Sometimes it's a matter of small improvements or small changes that go a long way. Yeah, and in terms of the system, is ability to respond quickly to the requirements here, and that means the solution is deployed within weeks instead of or days instead of months, and this is the differentiator, because the one which is first to the market is many times the have the best position, right? So here.
Yeah, and like you said, like you've talked about kind of how this tool being put in place would be able to help on the client side, having some of their employees perhaps change into a bit of a different function. And I know we've heard time and again that tech problems, more and more are people problems more than tech problems themselves. So how do you guys come in and approach, the technological transition from the client perspective, helping them move from, like a pilot product or a pilot move to more of a production market ready solution, but more from that people side of things, helping those people learn the tool, helping them get buy-in with the tool. How do you address something on that side as well?
All right, so here's the whole change management, and this is where we provide our consultancy and the hyper care for these projects. Every organization is different and requires a slightly different approach. So one example is we deploy the solution for a percentage of the flows, and we keep the previous process still working side by side, right? This way people can really get familiar with the solution and start to adopt the solution more easily. And once it starts to work for them, they start to see, okay, now I can do things which I were never able to do before, because the solution is now in place and I save my time. So then this opens up the gates for new business possibilities. Yeah.
Do you ever have clients or employees at the client office that have some of that resistance to change because they might see it as, the technology's coming in and replacing me at this company? Do you ever see that kind of mindset from some of the employees that you might be working with?
Yeah, we've seen, and this is absolutely natural. We've seen this in many, let's say, I've seen this in many projects before, and always um, the knowledge is the key. Yeah. It's like to help people understand that this technology is not against them. The technology is there to help them. Even today with the AI technology, people start to see that it's not going to replace them. It's going to change and help them, change the way they work and help them. But it's not going to replace people, because that is never the objective, right? So that's that I think the most important here to understand. Knowledge and awareness is the key.
Hmm. So yeah, like you said, the technology is not going to come in and replace people because you still need people. But also, I know one of the things I've read about Secro is that the solution doesn't necessarily come in and replace existing systems. It almost sits as a bit of a bridge kind of between them, kind of helping them perhaps connect better and whatnot. So why is that modularity such an advantage for some of your clients, be they large banks or corporates or other organizations like that?
Mhm. Um, this is uh, this is working on a couple of fronts. One front is, um, in case, let's take an example. There are two systems and in between there's a, let's say, not too big gap that these systems don't really talk to each other, right? Like in the example that I gave before. And um, bridging the gap with a micro solution does not that does not require the client to replace one or the other system. They can still take advantage of what works and only do the missing part and connect the systems that are already in place, and then get the benefit of the synergy between them, right? If they work together in a better way, and the business results are much better. Also, the time that it takes to implement this kind of solution is much quicker than replacing a bigger building block of the whole IT infra structure landscape. Yeah. So the resistance to change as well, right? Because people are probably used to the systems that work for them correctly. So why they need to spend the time to get to know the new solution if the only thing that is missing is a part between the two, right? And this is where Secro can come into play and create this kind of a micro solution that help bridge the gap between the two, remove compliance issues, reduce human errors, and let people do more.
And so that modularity that you're talking about, how does that play in from kind of a long-term scalability perspective, right? Like as more and more instruments in the space and in that ecosystem become digital, right? You have things like EBLs, eDocs, whatnot, as they start to gain more and more legal recognition. How is that modular approach, going to help organizations kind of build and scale as new pieces come into the ecosystem?
Yeah, right. So um, uh, Secro technology shines in the implementation in the implementation time, because we provide turnkey solutions like off the shelf, right? But what happens more often than not is you come and you want you want a specific solution that is on the shelf, but you also require certain modifications, um, and then uh, 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 thanks to the configuration capabilities, we can deliver these modifications right very quickly, right? Because this is where the solution can adapt to the very specific implementation that is required for your organization. And second, looking ahead into the future is where probably the only certain thing in life is change. So sooner or later, your business processes are going to change, and then we can adapt and transform the design of the system according to the needs. Right. This is where we optimized the cost of that and the effort for that due to configurations and thanks to the configuration capabilities. Yeah? So it's time to market, the implementation time, and the maintenance, the time that it takes to introduce changes as we go. This is where this is where we really solve the challenges of a traditional SaaS solutions.
So taking that, and that kind of gives a bit of a perspective on the current situation right now. So if we were to look ahead to perhaps next year or even 10 years down the road, what do you think is really going to define that next wave of digital change and digital infrastructure in the trade finance space?
Mhm. Um, um, from my perspective, I see the need for um, quick reaction to the changing environment, the business side, uh, that will pull the need for adapting the systems to those changing business requirements and business processes. The organization need to respond to a certain new regulations or a certain um, opportunities that are emerging on the market. And at the same time, these organizations are much, much more reliant on the systems that they use. Then the ability for that organization to respond and capture the business opportunity is going to depend on how fast that solution, IT solution, is able to change and adapt. So I think the next wave is about agility and adaptability of the solutions.
And for, some of those banks or commodity firms that are starting to think about new digital platforms, what's one piece of advice that you give to them before they start planning this big journey ahead of them?
Mm. Um, Start with your business goals as usual, and look for solutions that are solving your and addressing your business goals, providing the return on investment, and also look 2 or 3 years into the future. Okay, so look into how fast this platform or this solution is able to change and adapt to the future that nobody knows today, right? How flexible it is. Yeah? Even I would say it's for the solutions that work today. Um, um, the question to ask is there, okay, if I want to change this, if I want to change something else in the design of the process, let's say there is a process that is about signing a contract, and then all of the sudden you want to introduce an additional approval step for contracts that go above a certain value, or for contracts that go outside of the standard price range, right? So then ask these kind of questions because the change to the business process is going to come, and the solution will have to follow.
Amazing. Yeah. So start with your business goals, plan things out a few years into the future, and then really try to find that solution that's going to fit and going to be able to grow with the organization as you scale. So overall here we've talked about, compliance, speed, implementation, how all of these things kind of fit together in that sort of holy grail of trade tech adoption. So Przemek, thank you so much for being here on Trade Treasury Payments.
Thank you, Carter. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And don't forget to follow Trade Treasury Payments
On your favorite podcast platform.
Thanks for listening.